What's up, everybody? What's going on?
What's up, man?
Oh, yo! What happened? Looks
What
like
is
we had
going
some.
on?
Looks like we had some trouble there.
For some reason, when I launched the OBS, it wasn't playing anything. Like it showed us live, but it wasn't showing any audio. So I restarted it real quick, and hopefully it is picking it up now. But,
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to double check it. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's playing audio for me, so I think we might be. Good.
yeah, I got audio. We're good. Yeah, I think it was just.
Joe, are you crushing Rolling Rocks right now?
Rolling Rocks is what the father-in-law got. So we're going back old school. This is butt heavy. So we're doing Rolling Rock weekend.
Dude, that's
Cheers.
Rolling Rock's pretty good. You guys don't like it?
Makes me feel like college days. I never went to college, but just like in college bars, it's like a draft of it for or a picture of it for like $2 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in college for a few years now.
Keystone.
Never had Rolling Rock.
You're not really missing anything, so stick to the Cougars.
I've had Rolling
Stick to
Rock
the-
before.
Yeah, I've had.
Wait, what
does
does Bobby always drink? The Shinerbach.
I'm drinking
Oh, yeah.
5 Burrows.
It's Texas beer, dude.
Oh, Shiner.
Through.
Yeah,
You
so
want
what's
a
going
real
on?
beer, you get a Lone Star. You get a beer and a puzzle.
You guys think about this, huh? This new fresh cut, dude.
Oh, that was
Okay.
Oh
good.
boy.
You're looking more and more like me every day, dude.
More and
Dude,
more like molester.
Funny story. I knew like I was losing that shit back when we all worked together, and I kept telling my wife, I'm like, yo, like you let me know. But the problem is she's like 5'4", and she hooked up like a family photo op, and so like has like like a semi-professional photographer come out, and she sent like the quick photos, like the 10, like, hey, here's a preview, and man, like one of them was just like bing, like right, and I was like, I was in bed, and it was just like the camera's like right there, and I was like, it's done, dude. I'm over it, man. Like I'm not doing the comb over Trump bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it was terrible, man. It was brutal, man.
Bro,
Dude, that's
I
how
look
it
at,
goes,
I
man.
try to look at mine all the time. Like I'm good, but I always try to watch this spot because I'm waiting for it. Because I got the same thing in my family line too. It's like just waiting for it to start.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you've held
Rod's
out.
sat at the
You've held
worst
out
of
great.
all people.
No, yours is just as bad.
No, mine's maintained.
No,
Mine's
bro.
maintained, but yours is bad.
No, bro, your
Can we
shit
get a
fell
side
back
by
all the
side?
way
Both of you
back.
guys like put your heads like this so we can get a comparison.
Your shit fell all the way back, bro. I mean, I might be getting male pattern
goes-
baldness, but your shit fell.
Dude, it goes everywhere, but like here,
You got the
and then
island,
everything
dude.
down. I could grow like. Yeah,
Got
I'm
hair
screwed.
everywhere
Don't worry,
except
I
on the
got-
top of your head and the bottom of your feet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Joe,
as
don't
long
worry,
as you
I
look
got-
at it,
you should do the shave where you leave that island on the top and then shave the rest of it, and then it's like almost like a high and tight vibe, but it's really just a modified like I'm going bald, but this is what I can salvage. Instead of doing like the horseshoe, right?
Don't worry, I got all you guys. I got enough hair for all you motherfuckers. You guys can have all this shit when I'm done with it.
How long is it now, dude? How long is that?
Shit passes nips.
It's like past my nipples.
Past his nips? Is that a unit of measurement?
Yeah,
That is the unit.
when's the
of
last time you
measurement.
cut it?
Yeah, that's what everyone always asks.
When's the last time you washed it is the more important question. Do you wash it all the time? It's not like a
I
pain in
wash-
the ass.
It is. I washed it today, but I wash it twice a week.
Oh, you did?
You gonna cut that off and like donate it? Or you just
Probably.
cut
I'm
it
going
off
to donate to all you
before-
fools.
Asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it here pretty soon. Could you imagine your hair on this beard? It would look great.
Yeah. Black
So
hair,
fit
red beard.
perfect. Dude, so Drew, what's it feel like not to be at Yellowstone anymore? This is our first podcast with you being back in civilization. Also, why we're on Facecam, because now you have internet to be able to do it.
I know.
So,
It feels pretty good because, yeah, I mean, great internet is a good thing to have because that dial up that they're rocking over at Yellowstone is brutal. And it doesn't. It also helps, or it doesn't hurt that it was like 70 degrees today outside, so it was like super nice. It was very beautiful. Went for a long run, ran like a minute and a half faster than I normally do, which is that mountain elevation, and then took the dogs for a walk. So and it's still unpacking and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. It's been warm here. It's like the last week. It's been like 80. It's fucking that Midwest shit, where it's November,
got super
but
hot
it's still
today.
fucking warm.
Yeah, I got out just in time. There's like a big storm coming into Montana and like Wyoming this weekend here. So
Yeah, and that's what we're starting to get. It's overcast over here, and it's been hailing all day. They're supposed to get like anywhere from like 8 to 12 inches of snow, they say. So we'll see, but we're definitely getting something.
Time to hit the mountain, dog.
Winters. That's it. Well, yeah, not this week, unfortunately. So we'll be in the hospital.
Yeah.
oh yeah, what's the baby
Yeah.
update?
Yeah.
That's
Give us
it.
the baby update, dude.
Carla's in pain constantly, curses me out every 5 minutes, and I just feed her candy and Klondikes pretty much to keep her happy. I pushed her inside the bedroom, and yeah, she's not moving until Monday. So Monday we go in, and that's that. Ready or not, the baby's coming out. So
Damn. That's crazy, man.
Mhm.
You ready?
Awesome, man.
no, not at all.
It's fucking
Dude. You got to go for
right?
You got to go for the third, man. You got to go for a boy.
No,
You can't give up yet.
no, absolutely give up right now. That's it. I'm
Yeah,
done. So,
I'm with you, Joe. Just tie them puppies off, man. Like as soon as she goes
that's-
in,
you have to.
that baby comes out, and like you just go right down to general surgery and just get them tied up, dude. That day.
Dude, she's doing it for me. I don't even have to do anything. So maybe either in the off chance I might go to Thailand or something like that and spread my seed. We'll see.
It is.
No, but she's
Yikes.
doing it, so no. We're stopped at 2. We're done. We're not doing anything above
Over,
that.
huh?
Like it. So yeah, it'll be fun. But yeah, it should be interesting to have it too. Bobby, how old are yours?
9 and 4.
Yeah, that's. How is it?
I mean, they're 2 boys, so they just destroy all my shit all the time. You know what I mean?
But at least they're getting to that age of when they're not destroying your shit, you can go and like kind of start doing some cool shit with them,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
no, for sure.
yeah. I mean, they're the difference between boys and girls is like girls are great up until like 12 or 13, and boys are terrible up until 12 or 13. You know what I mean? Like
There is no difference between boys and girls, okay? Let's just let's
that
get
is
the
true.
elephant in the room approached right now.
Have you
right,
asked
just a
them
choice.
how they identify yet? And are you identifying like using
That's
the proper
true.
pronouns?
No. absolutely not.
It's
Hey,
they,
they have a
all right?
choice. If they want
They
to
and
change
them.
sexes, you have to let them do it. If they say they
Dude, so-
want to change genders.
Let me ask you though, like why are you cutting it at 2? Like what's the cutoff criteria?
Bro, that's repopulation criteria, bro.
It's just
Joe's
easier
trying to do
too.
his
Like think
thing.
about it. Like,
You 2 are gonna
when you
die.
go rent-
You give 2 kids back to the earth, man. You know what I mean?
And plus, if you rent a
Net
car,
zero.
you're staying within the sedan. But if you have 3 kids, now you got to upgrade to like a Cadillac Escalade or like a Tahoe. That's more money. Plane tickets and stuff like that. A 1-on-1 ratio. If you have any more than that, then it just gets chaotic. So, dude, 2's it, man. Like financially
It sounds
stable.
like you guys actually
it's good
calculated this out a little bit more than I thought.
for sure, dude. Dude, we want to still travel. Like we want to go out and like go. Like we're gonna be traveling on the planes and this and that. It's like, well, you can like. It works out, It's like 3. That's when it gets fucking crazy.
That's
when it's
those are my
complicated,
favorite
right?
people on an airplane, man. The people that have like the full row of kids and that they're fucking just screaming and kicking the chairs in front of them the entire time, and you're just looking at the dude, and you can see the look on the wife and the husband's face of like complete defeat, and like everyone's like, "Oh, I feel so bad for him. Like it's so hard." I'm like, "Motherfuckers, that was their goddamn choice. They wanted to have a fucking row full of children. They fucking need to get this shit under control. Are you out of your mind?" You don't get to give up once you're on the airplane. That's when the game starts.
That's when Benadryl starts on the airplane.
I never flew.
Yeah, because your parents are crazy. You have like what, 5, 6? How many? Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it
Yep.
was when I was growing up. It was road trips everywhere.
I do have a dude on my team that is against so my argument kind of aligns with Joe there, but also like the like repopulation. It's like, my wife and I are going to die. You replace it with 2 kids, and he's like, yeah, but if you have 3, 4, 5 kids, then you're beating ISIS. And I was like, okay. Like, he's like, that's another American white face in the population. I was like, oh, okay, bud. Like, I think China's going to win on that. Whatever.
Yeah, that is good logic.
Three more
trade
kids to
'em.
go clean rifles for 10 years.
Yeah. or
Or
their
suicide
limbs,
bombers.
or get their limbs blown off.
Yep. Go play in that field real fast.
Everybody's going to be Chinese
Should
in like
we
15 years, so it doesn't matter.
should we introduce Bobby at all, or
Probably.
you know?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I'd rather just be the weird dude, unnamed.
The weird unnamed dude in the lobby.
Just kidding.
Weird dude not named Bobby, who we've already used his name like on several occasions.
Well, it's definitely Bobby.
Bob. Yeah, that's so Bobby and us go way back to the old military days. Unfortunately, Bobby is still a government mule, whilst all of us made the good choice of leaving. And Bobby wanted to jump on with
That's
us
right.
and tell us a little bit. He leads. He's a man of many interests and leads an interesting life. So we're going to talk a little bit about like some of the things he's been getting into, like brewing booze and making hooch. Hopefully the ATF doesn't catch wind of this. I don't know. Are you like raising bees too or something, Bobby?
Yeah, I had some. My house got hit pretty hard in Florence. Being out on the East Coast, we had like 8 foot of water in the bottom floor of my house for like 4 days.
Shit.
Yeah, so I had 3
Jesus.
beehives out back, and they got picked up and pulled out and just flooded. And ended up buying 2 more beehives after the fact. And
How much does a
How
beehive run
expensive
you?
is a beehive? Yeah.
Yeah, so you can buy like a full up, like ready to go, like 10 frame jobby, like ready to make honey. Most dudes don't sell that just because it's like their bread and butter. So usually you buy them in packages. So you buy like, it's sold in like 5 pounds of bees, which is like 1,000 bees and a queen. So you essentially get like five frames of bees, and then you build it up from there. But I would say I think a normal package is about like 150, 175 bucks around here.
Yeah. As long as they don't sting you.
Nope. No. Funny story. So you you get to know your bees. You know what I mean? Like you get to know what pisses them off and what keeps them calm. So after a while, I was just wearing like a jacket and like pants, and I wouldn't wear gloves. And then a guy that was getting out of the business, older dude, he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I'm selling a full hive," and it has it was a full hive plus a super, which is where you keep the honey. And he's like, "I'll sell it to you for like 350 bucks." I was like, "Cool." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll package them up," which means like when the dark goes around, you put some screen in front of their door, so when the morning comes, they can't get out. So I back my truck up to this dude's house, and he's got his full bee suit on, and I'm just wearing a Carhartt jacket and a ball cap. And he goes to move this hive, and the back corner, it was eaten out because it just sits out in the sun all day. The back corner is eaten out. So as soon as we move this hive, we got me and my neighbor, we got murdered, dude. Like I'm running down the dude's driveway like a half a mile, just getting. I don't know. I probably got like 60, 70 stings that day. I was like, this was like terrible.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Dude,
I'll wear
that's
the full
fucking
suit.
crazy.
Full suit from now on, dude. Like, no exceptions.
What do you do when you have like 60 to 70 bee stings?
Just drink a couple beers
Drink
and
it off.
fuck it up, man. Like, yeah.
It's like a
Fall
really
into
bad
the cactus.
sunburn.
What else
Just
can you do?
fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Thankfully, I'm not
Oh.
allergic, so it's just like it's just deal with it, man. Like,
hey, that's
How
the
long did it
danger
last
you
for? Just
have
like
when
a
you
day
mess
or
with
two?
bees.
how long did what last for?
How much did the pain last for? Just like a day or two? It was gone the
Yeah,
next morning?
yeah.
or-
I mean, it's like it's like 3-4 hours, but it just reminds me of like that Tommy Boy. They like pull off the side and they're like flailing. Like it was literally exactly like that. Except I'm just running, sprinting down this dude's driveway.
That's
That's
funny.
good.
Yeah, fuck that. That's why I'll just stick with chickens. They can't fuck me up.
Yeah. Chickens are cool.
Yeah, how many chickens do you have, Joe? Oh, by the way, Joe, not to bring up a sore subject, but did you ever find out who murdered your cat?
Narrowing it down.
Dude.
So a couple people here and there.
Joe,
but
recap the story, Joe. Recap the story. I
Bobby's
mean,
Okay.
laughing.
So, Mr. Bojangles, you saw him in North Carolina, Bobby. He was over there.
Yeah.
We had him. He was a cool little cat, followed us, around our road trips and stuff like that when we took him across country. But yeah, ever since we moved out here, we have a couple acres, and he's been doing great, man. He just like runs around, fucks up, birds and just whatever, and just he gets fed, so he's awesome. But my next door neighbor, he's got a couple acres and stuff like that. Everybody around us does, and but one of the days, long story short, I'm just talking with my aunt, and it's like in the afternoon, and he comes up. And he's just like meowing, and he's walking on all three legs. I'm like, oh, dude, this is kind of fucking weird. I thought he broke his leg, so I wasn't like in a rush or anything like that. So I said goodbye to my aunt and everything. I told him, like, hey, I'm going to go to the vet. I'm going to call him this and that. I go inside to go, grab my, keys and stuff like that. By the time I came outside, he was downstairs. But pretty much when I picked him up, that's when you felt his arm, and it was just like, like through the scapula up here, it was just like torn through. It was just like the bone snapped in half on the scapula, pretty much. I was like, oh, that's fucking weird. Like, that's a weird place to break it. And so I start looking at it, this and that, and sure enough, dude, he's got a fucking a little wound. Like it looks like the size of a 22 or like a 9mm, and you could see like in the entrance right here. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's fucking weird, And so. And now you can see he's like an increased like respiratory. He's like, having trouble breathing and stuff like that. Long story short, again, we take him over to the vet, and dude, turns out someone fucking shot him. So, yeah, I mean, I narrowing it down and just kind of doing like investigations, and just kind of like seeing stuff around. Yeah, just like
Fucking Sherlock Holmes out here.
I know.
I would want to know
that's
too.
what I was thinking. Well, that's what. Yeah, I think I know who it is. I don't want to say it on air in case anybody's listening, but I think I know who it is. And yeah, I think when the opportunity presents itself, I'll make it good, But yeah, it's shitty, man. Like it just sucked. It was sucked. So, but yeah, we got a new dog and stuff.
I mean, what did you do that
yeah.
they shot your cat? Like what? Like the
Nothing.
person you
Nothing.
think it is? They're just a sick fuck, or?
Yeah, I think it's just teenagers. I think it's kids. Yeah. I mean, because one of the neighbors has lost a lot of chickens and ducks and stuff like that, so they're a little overcautious about their livestock and
So
stuff.
they
They're a little
blamed a
jumpy.
cat? Can cats even kill chickens?
No,
fucking
but
house
I'm sure
cat.
they saw. Yeah, but that's what I'm sure he was fucking around over there, and they were a little quick to the gun. I'm thinking. So,
Dude, cats kill chickens for sure.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think that
Dude,
like
somebody get a
don't
social
cats
worker.
kill like
they know.
don't cats kill like 4 billion birds a year?
Yeah, dude. Well, that's it. Like
I think it's even crazy.
they're
Yeah, but do they kill?
like
chickens?
80%
I mean,
effective when they
chickens
hunt.
seem like a quite a large bird for a house cat to be taken down. I mean, I know they kill the little ones. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I
chickens?
mean, my neighbors they let their cat run around with the chickens inside the coop and stuff like that. So it's not too bad. But yeah, Yeah, I know raccoons eat them. I know skunks eat them. We've had those around a couple
Oh,
times.
skunks will fuck up chickens.
Oh yeah. And
What,
they
like
like
a
the eggs.
The skunks can kill chickens, or they just
Oh,
like
yeah.
spray
Yeah.
them and eat their eggs.
No,
Nah,
the
they'll-
skunks are like vicious predators, actually.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
No. No. That's why I live where I live, because there's a very little amount of snakes. I haven't seen one since I've lived. It's been great.
I had a rat snake in my chicken coop the other year, and it's just like you open up the box and grab the eggs, and you're like, oh god, like.
Do they just sit? Do they try to eat the eggs? Those snakes?
Yeah.
Oh, they do. Okay. Fucking weird.
No, mine
Fucking open their mouth.
yeah, mine was curled up like right next to the nesting box, and I just like,
But
yeah.
yes,
Ugh.
I was just looking.
Oh, that's so. I don't know. Yeah, that's why I've seen it happen too, like in Texas and stuff like that, and like the North Carolina.
Nope.
No, I'm good.
I was just looking it up to circle back around to skunks. I was pretty sure they were in the weasel family, and they are. So like skunks are basically just weasels that fucking can fuck you up with their glands if they spray you. So pretty vicious.
I mean, I'm down to
Yeah,
I'm down
I'm
to
good.
keep a rat snake around the house just because they take up territory. You know what I mean? Because I know like out here, I mean, we got water moccasins and rattlesnakes, so it's like if you have a rat snake, he's taking up territory and he's not going to mess with you, but still, it's just a snake, and you're just like, God, man, like get out of my business, bro. Like go back and forth, man. Like I'm not trying to do this right now.
I was listening to a Steven Ranella podcast, and he was talking to one of the snake experts on there. But one thing I really took out of that whole entire podcast is that if you see one, you got like I don't want to say hundreds, but you got like pairs. You got multiple snakes around the house if you see one, because they don't want to be seeing this and that. But yeah, like I kind of agree with you. If you're gonna have one around, you might as well make it a fucking rat snake than a copperhead or something like that, or like a water moccasin. They're fucking aggressive.
I knew it was coming. I knew the water moccasins were coming. Dude. So Joe, it's like literally Joe brings up water moccasins every single episode. I mean, where do you even see them? I mean, I think they're only endemic to like waterways in the South, like in Louisiana, or like, you know what I mean, the Panhandle or something. Like where are they by you?
That's why I live where I live. Nowhere. Thank God. Nowhere around, but they still give me nightmares. I'll wake up in the middle of the night.
That's something else, dude.
They're like endemic to like south, like eastern Texas, and then like all of like Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and the Carolinas. So on the coast of the Carolinas.
Yeah. That's something else. Yeah, I've never feared for my life from water moccasins. But
now, very specifically weird fear.
Yeah, I know.
Snakes are a totally legitimate fear, dog.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys are
They're
still
evil,
scared. I mean,
dude.
like
They're evil,
I don't
bro.
particularly like handling them or like.
They freak me out for sure.
Yeah, they're creepy. They're gross. I mean, they're certainly disgusting. I don't like touching them. I think people that I think people that own snakes are complete weirdos. Like, you know, those kind of, you know what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
Only
Yeah,
one type of person that owns a snake, dude. Only one type. And they're not the type that I want to be friends with or interact with on a daily basis. They are strange people, dude.
I told you guys a story when I was younger I didn't know my buddy had snakes, and I was sleeping at his house, and I wake up and his snakes escaped when I was sleeping on the couch, and they were underneath the couch. And when he told me that, I never went to his house ever again. I was like, I'm good. I'm chilling.
That's a story of people owning pythons and like eating their kids and whatnot. Like,
Oh yeah, dude. I
my
read another story
Yeah, for
about
sure.
fucking snake was curled up around their owner, and her owner brought it into the vet. It was like it hasn't eaten in like a month. Like why isn't it eating? What's wrong? And she was telling the vet about her like daily like the daily habits and like kind of like routines that they had. And she's like, yeah, we sleep in the same bed and it wraps itself around me. And, we go to sleep and blah, blah, blah. And the vet's like, oh, it's going to eat you. It's building up the amount of space in the stomach to eat you one night while you're sleeping. Like, dude, fuck that shit, man.
Yeah, great. Now I'll have wonderful drinks.
I don't have to worry about Bandit eating me in the middle of the night. So I'm chilling. I'm good.
Could have just removed that person out of the gene pool, but no, had to go ahead and warn her.
Yep.
Well, that's the problem with warning labels, right?
That's right.
One of
just
my
let
most
people
favorite
survive
of
that
most
shouldn't.
fearful movies is Anaconda. So, yeah, no thanks. I think there's this. It takes a special person to have a pet snake.
I was
Yeah.
bowling last year, just sitting in the ground blind, and I just hear like some leaves crackling. It was like November, and look down, and there's a rattlesnake like literally crawling over my boot, and I was like, God bless. Just pulled the arrow out of my quiver and just like poked him. He just went on about his business, and I was like, man, this is why I do not hunt early in the season, man, because it's like it's not cold enough for these damn snakes to get the hell out of here. Just freak you the hell out, man.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yep, I'm good.
I ran into tons. I mean, when we were all on Pendleton, I'd run into them all the time, like out on runs. I remember when I was in BRC,
Yeah.
I did on the land nav course. I ran into the biggest snake I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was like literally just right on a goat trail, like it had to be like that thick around and just stretched all the way across this goat trail, like no big deal. And as soon as my eyes, my snake brain saw it, and like I recoiled and like fell on my ass and was like sliding down this hill towards it, and it like slithered away. Yeah, I don't think it was anything poisonous. Obviously, I don't think poisonous snakes get that big, but I mean, this thing was fucking big. But I don't know. I had all kinds of weird wildlife encounters, man. Like I ran into the fucking mountain lion.
Not to get too meta or anything.
Yeah, you ran into a mountain lion? When was that?
That was in BRC too, land nav course.
That's crazy.
My final
That's
point.
dude.
Yep,
and that was
me and another student. It was night. Me and another student were at first I saw because like we were on part of the land nav course that kind of butted up against. I don't know if you guys remember, but it like butts up against base housing. So there's like a big ass road. I think it was Basilone.
Marrow or Morrow? Was it Morrow?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. And so there was a point that was kind of in this big open meadow, kind of by that road. Yeah. But, they tell you like stay away from other students, stay away from the roads, things like that. So, I see this other student. I know we're both looking for the same point. And I'm just doing circles, right? I'm just doing these circles. And finally, I'm like, all right, dude, I'm going to try to navigate off terrain feature. So I like lay down and I pull out my fucking tack board to start navigating and I start trying to, shoot a resection off of that big radio tower. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I start trying to shoot this resection and try to figure out where the fuck I am and where this point might be. And while I'm just laying there, I kind of look out towards the road and I see this thing that like it had like a stance, kind of like a pit bull. And it was decently far enough to where it looked just like a shadow. I couldn't make anything out. So my first instinct was it's just a dog, dude. It's somebody's dog from base housing, whatever. And as I started kind of getting closer, that other student that I mentioned was next to me. And man, dude, I started trying to get his attention because I realized like what it was. I realized a mountain lion, and I'm trying to get his attention, and he like he's ignoring me, right? Because he thinks it's cheating. And I'm like, bro, that is a fucking mountain lion. Like, I'm trying to tell you that it's a mountain lion. As soon as he realizes that it's a mountain lion, he gets up, doesn't even say anything to me. He just gets up and fucking runs away. Just leaves me there, just bolts. I'm like, dude, man. Yeah, I'm trying to help you and you just bail on me, bro. Like, we could have maybe beat this thing to death with these rifles together,
fast. I just gotta be faster.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you bastard. I start chasing after him. And I'm like, as we finally hit a hard ball and we use the emergency radios to the instructors. And I'm like, yo, we just ran into a mountain lion. And, while we're on the road, we start arguing because I'm like, this was a terrible strategy. I don't know where it went now. It could be high ground stalking us. Like this was a bad strategy on how to deal with this situation. But yeah, anyway, turns out instructors came down. They gave us the point for free. It was our final point. So like, you guys did good enough just fucking walking in. So they came in a truck and we bounced and it was happily ever after. At first, they didn't believe us. They thought we were lying, but, I guess we looked sufficiently shook up. So they made fun of us, Peter Pan this, scared of your shadow, blah, blah, blah. So it was fun.
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
Pretty good story, dude.
Yeah, you'll find them all over Pendleton. I mean, they were in the barracks, man. I mean, I think I've told you guys this too at one point, but there was a guy that worked at the pool and he had an aquarium and he kept a fucking rattlesnake in it. He found one and kept it in an aquarium over there. Just like I mean, they were all over the place, but yeah, people fuck with this. Cool.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I don't know, man. I had all terrible, interactions with animals. I don't know, every animal I've ever seen. I don't know, like when I've been diving and I've seen dolphins. I don't know. I'm a kid from the city, so like I didn't know what dolphins looked like for real. I thought they looked like what you see at like an aquarium. And then when I saw one for real on a dive, it was all fucking grizzled and scarred up and shit. I was like, God, nothing in the animal kingdom looks friendly at all, dude.
No, they're all trying to eat each other.
It's like following that Nature's Metal Instagram.
Oh
yeah, for sure.
That's one of my favorite.
Drew's got all those good ones, man. You missed it, Bobby. You missed a couple of ours. We had like bears fighting wolves, a bear like killing an elk by drowning it. I mean, pretty gnarly.
Oh, I forgot. That was a good one.
Pretty. That's pretty fucking metal right there. Drowning it in the fucking Yellowstone.
Yeah, man.
And then sitting on it for a couple days too, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't it end up fighting other animals to keep the carcass, Drewski?
So I think the giant one that killed it sat on it for like a week, and then kind of buried it and wandered off. And then I think another grizzly kind of dug it up.
Now recording.
And then it, like as the grizzly was digging up the carcass after it was abandoned, another grizzly challenged him for it, and they fought over it. And it was a pretty good one.
Damn. Yeah, man. I mean,
it's a hard world.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I'm jealous, man. You got to see a lot of good stuff. I know even not just this time, but the time before, you had some really great picks. You had like a good wolf encounters, all types of good stuff.
Yeah, like this last time, I had like a fox come within, I don't know, maybe like 3 feet of me. My first day there was pretty crazy.
Not bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away they get that close.
It's probably just domesticated to the park, you know? There's used to people wanting to come up and talk to them or like be around them, so they're not that afraid of people, maybe?
They're super habituated for sure to people. But yeah, it's still bizarre, you know, because people are dangerous. Not like, I mean, it's not like there's hunting going on in the park. Although poaching does occasionally go on in the park, but it's the roadside that's like so dangerous because that's where people are. So that, bears are always getting hit by cars. So are bison, and elk occasionally.
What's the penalty for poaching animals there? Is it like lengthy prison or
Now
what?
recording.
Yeah, it's like you can get prison time. You also get banned from the park. You're gonna have to pay a lot of fines, and you'll probably never be able to own a weapon again. So
I was
you get
I
caught.
was gonna say you take your weapons getting taken away from you. That gets into like written to custody and stuff like that. And then like you said, Drew, like I don't think you're able to purchase guns anymore, which is
It's a felony, right? So you're a
That's a
felon
big
now.
blow.
So
Yeah, I mean, poaching's bad to begin with, but if you're poaching on a national park, I mean, they're just gonna throw the book at you.
Yeah, for sure.
How many folks were just taken into like the local like Yellowstone aid station for fucking with wildlife?
It's not as many as you think it would be, but there's a decent amount. Like for every season, because of the elk rut, that one's pretty bad because there are a bunch of aggressive bulls that'll just straight up charge people because they want to get a photo op with them. So I mean, you have that every once in a while. Like last year when I got there was a woman who got a good hoofing from a cow elk because she got too close to its calf. And so she just basically gave her the old, the fucking knuckle dusters and broke 3 ribs and like lacerated her liver and all that stuff. So
I was gonna ask where she kick her in the body. It sounds like.
yeah, like so cow elks
That's
do this
fair.
weird thing where when they get like super aggressive or agitated, they'll like stand up on their hind legs and kind of just flail their front arms at like out in the air, like but it's like an animal that weighs like a couple 100 pounds. So when they do that on your chest and you're a fucking frail human being, they fucking break all your ribs and lacerate your liver.
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
I'm gonna
Remember
use
Sorry, what'd you say, Bobby?
So I'm going to use a good hoofing in future conversations too.
That's right.
Awesome. I'll give you a good hoofing.
Every once in a while, man. That's right. Good hoofing.
Dude, yeah. Remember the Darwin Awards lady who put her baby on top of one? She tried to get a pic with
a bison.
Yeah, dude, on top of a bison, dude.
Yeah.
Didn't end well. Not for the baby, at least.
Yeah, last year, right around Old Faithful, there are a bunch of people that surrounded this satellite bison, satellite bull bison, and these are bison that are kind of older. They're usually not participants in the herds anymore, so they're not going to like reproduce or anything like that, and they're kind of just waiting out their last or final days. So they can be super, aggravated. Like they can be super aggressive at times, and this huge crowd just surrounded them and just started taking all these pictures. And then at one point, the bull had enough. It was like, fuck all of you guys. I'm out of here. And so like he just started like bucking and running full blast. And everyone else ran out of the way. And this couple had like their 9-year-old with them. Just it was like once this bull started running around, just left the 9-year-old. And this bull hit this kid at like full speed and launched the kid maybe like 15 feet up in the air, up like basically like 3/4 of the way up a lodge pole, and just somehow the kid like did a backflip in the air and then like landed on her feet and was fine somehow. But that happened last year. That was pretty good.
Damn.
Kids can handle some shit, They got those flexible bones still. They can be flopped around.
Dude, people do dumb shit all the time. Like that thing that Poon sent us where some dude was trying to cook chicken in the geysers. Like we got 3 people, one person cooking a chicken. We caught 3 people cooking eggs. We got one guy who just walked barefoot across Grand Prismatic. How he didn't get 3rd-degree birds is like beyond. I don't know how he did that.
Chickens, man. Like who? Was it like a full chicken? Was he just trying to get rid of them or what?
I think it's like a rotisserie chicken that you're just trying to get warmed up,
He bought it before he went out camping and was like, hey, well, maybe I'll just warm it up on the geyser.
Everyone knows they like the MREs when they're warm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
MREs chase better
That's
when they're
funny.
warm.
All right, so I got questions for you guys. How was post-election where you guys live? I think for a bunch of you guys are in the middle of nowhere, so probably fine. But
Yeah, I haven't heard anything here yet.
nothing.
We did have a lot of protests during the whole like protest stuff, so maybe something will come up. But like I said, with Biden winning, I don't think the protests are going to be that bad. So I think the least is going to be is just like what you had, Rob, with people like marching down the street celebrating. But I haven't like seen anything here yet as far as that stuff goes.
Yeah, they were having a full-blown party outside my window this morning while I was extremely hungover. So I was not having a good
What
time.
What time was
Like as soon as it was announced, like 10:30 or 11 or something around there, I think. Like
Okay.
as soon as the AP called it for Biden, it was just like people had like wooden spoons and pots and pans, and they were just.
I did just get a thing from like a news alert that they're going to address the nation.
What, tonight?
At 8 p.m. EST.
Oh.
President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris address the nation at 8 p.m. EST.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing's changed over
No,
here.
yeah, they're
All quiet.
they're just gonna do like we're so happy that the American people had trust in us and that kind of thing. It's like basically like a victory speech, kind of, you know.
Yeah,
Trump
other than
afterwards going, they're lying. It's not true.
Yeah, dude, he looks like he's having a bad week.
he's having a bad
He's
week.
been
that's
having
for
a
sure.
bad year, bro. He's just
He's
been
definitely had a bad year.
We got what 75 days for inauguration, so I mean it's going to be tied up in court. I would imagine the rest of the time, huh?
Whole time. Yep.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I know he's got denied a couple of his lawsuits, but yeah, he's definitely going to go to court for everything possibly can, for sure.
Yeah, I think Minnesota and Wisconsin just got overruled. It's not going to happen. But PA,
Georgia's doing a recount.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be 80 days from Wednesday to the inauguration. So yeah, it's like 75 days or something like that. It's just going to be tied up. But
Yeah, the battleground
I don't know.
this time around. It was strange.
Dude, it was so close, man.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yep.
I did not see it be coming down to like such marginal amount of votes, you know?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I didn't
last
expect
year,
Arizona
I mean,
to
I mean, last year was close, like the closest election we had up until this one. So
Yeah, I think it was like some states were like, I think it was Wisconsin where Trump won like by only like 15,000 votes or something, 20,000 votes, which is that's a super tight
yeah.
rate.
Wisconsin was the one that was like,
What about Georgia flipping blue?
But yeah, other than watching Van Jones cry today, my day was pretty good. No different. Watching Van Jones cry once again. So,
dude, yeah, that guy.
at least I didn't have to yell at him or watch him yell at me for my white lash.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was funny because it just kind of was. It was cracking me up today when I was thinking about it. Like I didn't see anybody like screaming at the heavens, you know, that Donald Trump lost. So I was hoping for some good stuff, but there really wasn't. The reaction wasn't as good as I had hoped for. So
anticlimactic.
Well,
yeah, no memeing, nothing memeable.
Uh-huh.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the whole interesting thing about how it like unfolded, right, or played out. That it essentially played out in the most excruciating fashion possible, slowly over a few days, and coming down to like a matter of thousands of votes, essentially, and to the point to where they had already counted the in-votes or the in-person votes, and all that was left was provisional and absentee mail-ins, which were heavily going to skew, Democratic, because when you have a president that says, don't mail in your vote, like go out and vote in person, like of course there aren't going to be any more votes left for you once they count all those. So, or at least very minimal.
Right. There was a lot of
you're
meme graphs about like Trump having a steady curve to his, and then Biden having like a little bit less curve, like a little bit lower curve, and then all of a sudden like a 90-degree bump up, and win, because as soon as they counted all those votes, all of a sudden Biden won now. Like when we were talking about an election podcast of like, damn, he might pull it off. This is looking good in a way, but yeah, as soon as they started counting all those other votes, it just he just kind of started tanking, which is why he didn't want him in the first place, right? Because he knew that'd be his downfall.
You mean when
I just automatically assumed. I just real fast. I just automatically assumed they would count votes before, like the day of the election, and everything. Just
they
to make
can't
it
in certain
faster.
states. Certain states
I
it's
didn't know
illegal.
and that's like when over the 3 days, like you learn about it. You know, it's like, oh.
Well, I can kind of get that because like if you had 50 million mail-in votes, right, and you had the results out, that's going to probably skew people even when they come out to vote, right? Because people are going to be like, well, you know, they might feel like it's already sold on one way or the other or something. So
no, they can't release the results until they can't release them until the polls close. They can't report until the polls close, so it wouldn't skew anything.
Oh, okay. I thought that they could, if they were going to be able to count them early, they would be able to like report them early. But well, if that's the case, then yeah, why wouldn't they have just counted them and had them like, you know, when they release the polls, they could release all of them together, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was a crazy election, but yeah, Biden took it. I think right now it's hot in Georgia for the Senate, which I think is going to be the more interesting thing to pay attention to as opposed to Trump's, death throes.
Yep.
Be a lawsuit, but yeah, Republicans will. I don't know. My bet is the Republicans will control the Senate. They picked up a few more seats in the House, so it's not the end of the world for anybody on either side. So I don't know. People are. I haven't seen anybody overreact, and so I was just kind of curious what you guys saw by you guys.
I also thought it was interesting that like we didn't get a blue wave. Maybe that kind of shows that people were more voting against Trump than against the Republican Party, because you might have had a lot of people that voted against Trump but then voted for the Republican senator in their state as well. Kind of going back to that polarization thing we were talking about before, where like people were straight out just to vote against Trump, not against one party or the other, and that's why we didn't see the blue wave that there were kind of was out there before as a possibility.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, I don't know. Most people that I know that really, really dislike Donald Trump don't really hate conservatives or conservative values or any of that stuff. They just hate Donald Trump. So
yep.
Yeah, I mean that's what they ran on, right? Like they ran on, anybody is better than Trump, and then the whole initiative of getting more people to go out and vote is ultimately what won it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
the not to cut you off, Rob. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was just saying, when I was at the gym today, I was listening to the Economist podcast from Friday, and they were talking about the election, and somebody brought up how like even when you have a massive amount of voters come out, they were tallying it as like over 160 million voters, and I think the last couple elections were like the 130s. So there are potentially like 30 million more voters that came out this election, and we didn't see a massive shift in like landslide, right? It stayed equal, but it didn't show that like if Democrats have more voters that come out, they're gonna win by a landslide. Like kind of what I was thinking was gonna happen, and they were talking about how it kind of could shape how you go forward with like you can't depend on more voters equals more voters to Democrats. So you got to actually target your voters the way you're supposed to, not just by having a mass amount.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes perfect sense. I mean, all other things equal, if you get more people to the polls, it wouldn't make sense why it would be exclusively Democrats that show up to the polls. You know what I mean? You would think that everyone is going to, in some way, shape, or form, try to take part in the process a little bit more. If anything, I think increased voting was a function of the fact that you could just get an absentee ballot for anything.
Right.
And
right.
not vote
I could have done it easily here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an easy day.
You got to think like the easier you make a task, the more likely people are to do it. Right. So, if you make voting a
100%.
chore,
Availability is everything.
Yeah, you make people stand in line for 4 hours. Like, I don't know. I don't even like standing in line to go on a roller coaster. You know what I mean? Which is sometimes fun.
Oh,
Let alone fucking standing in line to, talk to some old person at a polling station and then punch a ticket
get
for 4
COVID.
hours. Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking the whole time. Was like it's all about the ease of access, right? Like because with people that are busy with work or kids or childcare, like cutting out a couple hours of your day to go vote. Maybe you don't have that like workplace flexibility that you can just like go take a couple hours off work to go vote, or maybe you don't have childcare to go vote. But if you can do it just the ease of online mail in, like, or you're just too lazy to go actually vote, even though you have the time, then you're gonna vote because you can, because it's easy. It's a mail in, So I definitely can. Like, what do you guys think this will be set a precedence going forward of mail in stuff? Like, or do you think it'll go back next election to all in person like it was before?
I'm hoping that technology evolves enough to where you can just vote online with, on your phone, online with the social security number. Like, why are we looking at this? You know what I mean? Like, we're going to stand in line and go to a poll. Like, technology is moving forward, man. Like, I should be able to whip up my phone, type in some numbers, Face ID my shit, and just punch in a ballot at that point.
No, I 100% agree with that. And it's like, that's exactly how I felt with this. It's like, oh no, we had a technological issue. Everybody bust out your fucking abacus. It's like, dude, like, why are we doing this 1,000 years old? Why are we using 1,000-year-old methods such as counting on your fucking fingers and toes, to count votes? Like, there's a million ways that you could do it better. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, but a lot of times you're going to have to infringe on people's, privacy, or you're going to have to make laws that then people will problematize, such as like voter ID laws, which they say, preclude certain minority groups from, having access to voting, which may very well be true. If you're a 60-year-old, 70-year-old, old lady down in the middle of fucking nowhere, Georgia, and your polling station was 40 miles away and you don't drive, but you need to have an ID, it's like, it might be very difficult for you to get one. I don't know. There's probably tons of instances where people can't exercise their right to vote based on voter ID laws. But I think it just becomes really hard to find a good common middle ground that doesn't cut people out of the electorate, but also doesn't infringe on people's privacy, which is kind of a big deal nowadays,
Yeah, it's also with like technology. I agree with you, Bobby. Is like in theory we should definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
We all be online.
If we can bet.
Go ahead, Drew.
I was gonna say, if we can bank online, we can vote online.
Yeah,
but also like tons and tons of very, very important things. I mean, all of the DNA databases, all that stuff's online. What do you think? They keep that shit in a folder somewhere? Like it's all of it is online. It is. It very well is true that you can be hacked, or that those servers could go down. And I guarantee you, the first thing that would ever happen if we ever did do some type of internet voting, it would get DDoSed, right? That's what hackers do. They want to bring down the system. They're like little anarchists. I mean, of course that stuff's going to happen, but I mean, we have very, very smart people that can absolutely help mitigate. But the problem is it's government. Like if it was a free enterprise project, we might see better results. But because it's government, they're going to get some schlep to do it for fucking $10 an hour or something. He's going to take lunch when he should be watching the computer, and then the whole world will explode. You get
that Obamacare website, right?
Perfect example. Exactly. Yeah. You get anything that government touches is typically going to be painful. So, yeah. And I mean, also, if it does get hacked, you can see a footprint of that. They always find these people. It's not like
they always track them down.
You know what I mean? I was just reading a story the other day. The Department of Justice seized $1 billion in Bitcoin. It took them 8 years to find out who the guy that had the wallet was. For 8 years, they looked for that dude and they found him. And blockchain technology is supposed to be like untraceable, right? Like we don't know how to figure it out. How do you seize a Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Right? Like how do you do that? So I don't know how it happened, but I couldn't explain the tech to you. But that the point being that they can do it. So they'll know. You know what I mean?
You know, well, for something like that with 8 years, I mean, I do not underestimate the ability, like the government's ability to try to track somebody down like that. But I got to think if somebody stole that amount in Bitcoin, they probably talked. And that's probably what led to the tracking them down.
Purchases or
right.
Something like that.
Or he told somebody and somebody else told someone else and that kind of thing. But,
or he just fucked up eventually on his run and got found out because he was being sloppy after, he thought it was safe after 5 or 6 years. And then, he just randomly popped up on the grid and everybody was like, he was on a watch list and boom.
Look at the dude who did the Silk Road.
Oh, yeah. That dude is fucked.
And that was like
remember the Lizard Squad?
No. What's the Lizard Squad?
You don't remember this? Remember when Xbox Live was shut down for like Christmas a few years ago?
Yeah.
They got them. They found them.
Yeah, I mean, dude. I think what makes electioneering or like election fraud, even though it happens very, very, like it does not happen a lot. It's very, very rare. If you buy, the expert opinions and the expert analysis, election fraud, what makes it possible is our antiquated system. You know what I'm saying? That's what actually allows you to commit fraud. It's not because there's a lack of technology that it makes it safer. You know what I mean?
Right. And then it's like other weird things too, like with, I don't know what was going on with Arizona with the whole Sharpie issue or situation where like the machines weren't reading fine tip Sharpies or whatever.
Sharpie. Exactly.
I hate how everything is fucking gate. Like Watergate was literally only called Watergate because it was at the Watergate Hotel. Why the fuck is it Sharpie Gate? Why can't it just be called something else?
There was a gate, and you had to use the gate to get
Jesus
inside.
Christ. The fucking ingenuity and the creativity of the fucking people that run the media. Unbelievable.
Well, you gotta associate the things that people recognize, right? Everybody's heard of Watergate. That's
everybody's like holding on to like the
Why can't they just say Sharpie? The Sharpie scandal. It rolls off the tongue better. Fuck, it's alliteration.
But it doesn't imply anything. It implies a scandal, but it doesn't relate it to like Watergate. This way,
the Watergate scandal. That's what you're just cutting off scandal. You're replacing scandal with gate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it makes
everything's deflate gate instead of the deflate scandal. And it's laziness.
It is, but it'll reach that extra 1 or 2 people that weren't putting 2 and 2 together until you put gate there instead of fucking scandal. They hear scandal all the time.
If you ever get murdered, I'm going to ensure that the detectives make sure it's labeled Drewgate.
Murdergate.
Murdergate.
What's this homicide called?
Murdergate. You brought up the media though too, Drew, and that's a good point too from this election. Because that's one area where like I would side with kind of I guess the conspiratorial thing is that like, dude, the media wanted this to go one way, man, and they were
sure.
They were pushing it very hard. Just on that direction. I'm not exactly sure how powerful that is because I don't know. Like maybe our group has a selection bias involved that like our friend group or our kind of acquaintance group, even outside of just us here. But like, do you really read the New York Times and go, man, like I got no other questions like that? That solved it all for me. Like I get it all now. Like I don't know. I've never found myself really reading an article from the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or any media source that like I would normally consume and walking away from it going, man, that's it. Don't need to ask any other questions today, like about that topic. Like normally it raises more questions than it does answers for me when I read those types of articles. So.
Yeah, I try to get more information from what they've either covered or deposited. And first of all, you can't get any information from the New York Times because every time you go to the goddamn New York Times, you get a fucking paywall. Yeah, you can't look at election results without having a goddamn paywall.
Yeah, the paywall.
Fuck you, New York Times. Jesus Christ,
everybody's got them now.
It's awful. It's awful. But yeah, like I totally agree. Like I don't go to one source for everything. Like that's just. I mean, I get it. It takes time out of your day. It's exhaustive to do so, but I mean, if you really want to cover your bit, like, but that's what I think it is, right? People are lazy. They just don't have the time for it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that's why clickbait headlines are so popular, right? You know, just make an interesting headline that kind of summarizes everything into a sentence, and then they'll read that, and maybe they read a little bit of the article that probably confirms that title, and they call it that, and they leave it there, you know, instead of like,
Right.
all right, well, here's an opinion, but let me go see if everybody else is saying the same thing, or if it's just one version of multiple stories.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, most of the time I feel like they're all very confusing and they don't actually really even give you any information. I feel like most news articles are actually not like investigative backbreaking work. It's like actually, you know, you read it and it's more opinion than it is anything else. And I walk away with like more questions. You know what I mean? You know, you give me a little bit of background information on this thing while subtly just applying opinion for 4 paragraphs. I'm kind of like walking away from it like, man, I don't really think I understand this thing any better or this situation.
Yeah. And that's what, it's, we talked a little bit about it on election day, with all the media outlets and stuff like that. And that's their right to, they obviously have their biased opinion, and the day and era that we live in right now, it's not like NBC and CBS in the 1950s and stuff like that, where you get your resources and all your news from one spot. Like now we have the internet and we could just, internet and information's coming in at us at, 1,000 miles per hour. So you have to, go on multiple websites to see what's accurate, especially with this election. I mean, it was continuously Arizona won, they didn't win, and then Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, it was all over the place. So depending on which outlet you listen to and watch.
I mean, is it their right though? That's the thing is like, I feel like there are journalistic standards, right? And I guess we were talking about this the other day. I think we're all pretty much in agreement with it. Like, that we're living through another age of like yellow journalism, we need
right. That's the very pernicious thing about it too, right? Like if they are wrong, you never and they print the retraction, nobody ever sees the retraction, and it never becomes news or like, oh, hey, here's the follow-up or here's an important add-on to this article that everyone read. Nobody sees it.
Never, dude. I mean, I don't know. I've seen a lot of articles that I thought were just absolute garbage. So I don't know. I mean, even the, and it's just disheartening because you see it too, like with all those guys that, Bobby, I don't know if you're familiar with this, you might be, but we've talked about it a couple of times, where the academics got together and they wrote fake papers to submit to journals.
The grievance studies.
Studies.
Yeah.
Oh,
the door cooking and stuff like that.
Dude, those are
comedy gold. Comedy gold.
They're absolutely hilarious, but it's like simultaneously it's kind of scary, right? Because now it's like where like I know that was only in the humanities that they were really submitting these things, but it's like you see some of this stuff bleeding into more scientific journals, and I think it goes from the pure humanities to like some of the multidisciplinary studies, such as like economics. Economics isn't a hard science, right? It's a soft science. You incorporate a lot of like, sociology in it and lots of stuff like that. So it's not a hard science. So then that stuff starts to bleed over there. And now people are actually using mathematics to prove things about really bizarre social issues, right? So you're using a little bit of science and applying it to these really wacky things. And it's only a matter of time before it becomes more routine in larger scientific journals. So it's kind of scary, man. Like when you think about it from a perspective of like medicine, economics, like things that make our lives better, like all the time. And that's why we study them. And they're kind of going to be going to shit as well. So where do you even get your information from? At some point, basically, either you do the research yourself or you just don't know.
Right. And that's like the super dubious thing about that type of like infiltration into those softer sciences. Because like, I mean, we've talked about this before, but in my process to applying to medical school, I've had to write some pretty crazy, secondary essays, I would say, for somebody who wants to become a physician. And like, there are important issues. Like, for example, there is a infant mortality gap between white and black women, which we have no idea why that gap exists and why it seems to be persistent as time and technology progresses. And so like these studies are very relevant for trying to answer these types of questions. But when, things like critical race theory start to infiltrate these things, like it becomes a very murky water to try to forge through.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I don't want to beat it up all night. I just wanted to see what you guys thought too. Because I mean, now as we move forward, it's like I wonder if the pendulum is going to come back the other way now. Like basically, you had nothing but 24-hour Trump coverage, right? Because the media was very engaged, and in some cases, I don't want to say in all cases, rightfully so, where Donald Trump was egging these things on and also putting his own foot in his mouth enough that he just makes a great story. Now that he's going to be gone, what does that look like? Like, what is media, traditional media, going to look like when we don't have 24/7 coverage of the president, or maybe we have like 24/7
bad
positive coverage?
Well, I think that's going to be it. I think they're just going to, everything Biden probably does is going to be a positive coverage. And that's my opinion, just off of what we've seen, because they've been so, orange man bad and everything like that. But I got to believe that, once he gets into office, they're not going to say anything negative. They're going to like, oh, he's the greatest, and this and that. Like,
I don't know. I feel like they're going to have to talk negative about him to make headlines. Sorry to cut you off, Bobby.
No, you're good. I mean, it'll be the same news as like when Obama was office, like, the lead story will be like he wore a tan suit, and you're like, cool beans, man. Like,
the classic tan suit that made everybody lose their fucking minds because he didn't wear the normal suit.
Yeah.
My question
more on
is,
Kamala probably too.
My question is,
surprised if. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, you're good. Go for it, man. Sorry.
No, I was saying my question is like, if this whole like court thing goes, just falls apart for the Trump office, and Biden and Harris take over. I'm going to totally derail this whole conversation, but the descheduling of marijuana in the country, because I know they kind of shipped both the president and the vice president, not yet, but have kind of
president-elect.
overturned their views on it in the last 9 months. So, I mean, it seems like a long thing coming in the country of just overturning that and descheduling it. But what are the chances that it's actually going to happen in his term?
Well, didn't Biden say a couple months ago that he hasn't seen any scientific evidence that proves that marijuana is safer than anything else? Like he openly like stated that he doesn't think it's a good thing at all. I'm like, oh, okay, you're not reading anything.
Well, I guess
Like, they wrote it on
here's the important question: who all agrees with legalization of marijuana, like outright?
Me.
Everybody. Damn, I'm the only one. I'm not a man out. Yeah, I don't. I disagree.
I would love to hear this.
Thumbs down.
I gotta hear it. I'm all
Get
for it.
ready. Here it comes.
I think decriminalization is a better approach. I mean, what is the net positive of legalization? Like, do you see a social benefit?
Tax increase.
Right. So like if you look at if you look at case studies, right, of particular states, once again, who manages tax allocations, right? Who does that? The government. What is the government notoriously not good at? Allocating other people's money. So like, I get it that you can raise more tax revenue. That does not necessarily have any correlation with the effective use of that money. So for instance, if you have $10, right, and I say now you can sell all the pot you want, and that brings your income not from 10, or it brings your income from 10 to 20. You've doubled your income, right? And now you have an extra $10 to spend. What you do with that $10 is completely independent of the fact that you actually have raised it. So like, I feel like the tax argument is a moot point.
Like as far as like, yeah, federal legalization goes, because I know like state-wise, don't they like write it into like, because I know Missouri was legalizing like their medical laws. They were like, which one do you want to vote for? Where does the money go? So like we voted for here in Missouri to have a lot of that money go to veterans funds.
Right.
So like we voted for 3 different like ways the taxes would be used essentially.
Right. And so that is what a lot of states will try to do. But I would challenge you to look at where the money actually ends up.
Right. Which I'm still waiting for them to open any dispensaries because of COVID. We legalized it last year, but I don't think one dispensary is open in Springfield. Besides that, because of COVID, there just is like nothing's happened. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for you too.
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I'm for less government too. If less government is going to put their paws into decriminalizing marijuana as opposed to federally just legalizing it, then I'm for that. I think the public has the right to smoke it, do what they will with it, and my stance on drugs and this and that. Anyway, I think everything should be legalized. I know that's extreme, but I think it should be treated. I like alcohol in the United States. I like how they do it. I feel like the government should probably be a little more hands off than what they are, but I am for people having the right to do whatever the fuck they want with it.
What was it, Oregon that legalized LSD and shit now? And
Yeah, decriminalized everything.
Decriminalized it, yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly what Rob's saying, So.
But that's the point, right? Is like what are you trying to achieve by making pot legal? You're for the most part, you're trying to maximize a social benefit, which typically leads you down the road. Now, I'm not saying this is the only road, but it typically leads you down the road of presenting people going to jail for pot, which does not happen.
Right.
Doesn't happen. Now, I'm not going to lie to you that and it does happen, but you guys get where I'm going with that, right? You guys know that I'm not an absolutist. I don't believe that there's zero pot arrests.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's usually other types of category of drugs.
It's trivial, right? So somebody might, with respect to how it is abused, right, by law enforcement, I'll walk up to your car, oh, I smell pot, get the fuck out, I'm ripping your car apart, I'm going to violate your amendments. That's not, you shouldn't be able to violate people's civil rights based on that stuff. But at the same time, do you want people driving around drinking beers? Do you want people driving around fucking smoking joints? I'm not sure. I don't know. Have I driven drunk before? Yes, everyone has, right? It's an irresponsible thing that pretty much everyone has done. It doesn't mean that I advocate it. Yet it doesn't mean that I'm oh yeah, dude, I've driven drunk before and I got home plenty of times. Why should the cops be allowed to infringe on my rights for this? So I still think that there needs to be a level of regulation. And I think the alcohol industry is a really good example of that, where the alcohol industry established a cartel that is so fucking powerful that it infiltrates government. So if you would like to start another industry like that, where now the marijuana industry is going to be lobbying in government, and not on our behalf, but on the behalf of pot growers or pot smokers, which in my opinion, being a pot smoker adds no social benefit. It's not like your GDP goes up because you smoke more pot. It doesn't make you more. It doesn't make you more efficient. It doesn't make you any better at stuff unless you're Joe Rogan. Then you're going to be at least 50% better at everything you do. So I just don't see a net benefit. And I do think that the downsides are there. They're definitely, there's definitely an unexplained, and Drew probably can touch on this, the unexplained correlation between smoking pot and schizophrenia, early onset schizophrenia.
Yeah, there is a correlation. It's not as high as the media hysteria will have you believe, but it is a thing that definitely needs to be considered for especially young males in their early 20s. Engaging in cannabis use, it can trigger a schizophrenic break and fuck them up for the rest of their lives.
It's a drug, and I think I agree with you guys both on it. I think that information needs to be put out there. I think the more information needs to be put out there from whoever it is. If you want it to be the government, then cool, but more information needs to go out on drug education for sure. And do what you will with it. If you want to smoke marijuana, these are the pros and cons. These are the this and that. But yeah, I hear you. It's I guess I never really kind of looked at it too from would I rather decriminalize it or legalize it? I've never really given that a hard thought. So
I'd rather decriminalize it as well rather than legalize it. But if it's one or the other, I'd go with legalization. But I would like to see the impact that legalizing had on the drug war, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should take this time to congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs.
They're winning.
That's good, dude. We got to get some shirts.
It's been a long fight, but they're coming out on top.
You did it.
Yeah, fuck you, Nancy Reagan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Oregon doing it? That kind of got brought up, but pros, cons. What do you think?
Dude, I just don't think we have in American society, we just don't have the cohesion that you might see in some South American or Latin American countries or in Europe, where people care about each other, right? Like I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not trying to sound like a dick. When I see homeless people on the street, I generally just step right over them and carry on with my day. I don't sit there and go, oh my God, my fellow American is living in poverty, because that's just not an American ethos. If we're being honest, like that's just it. We operate on right. Like we operate on independence, right? Like we operate on, you have your set of, lifestyle choices or things like that. And now when we start to think about a more nuanced, in a more nuanced way, we might come to the conclusion that, hey, we should help people and we should have empathy. I think that's a good thing. But like, we don't have the drug treatment protocols that decriminalization is going to help people. Decriminalization is just going to continue to put addicts back on the street, because I'm not worried about pot smokers, but the guy that shoots dope or like smokes meth. Have you ever seen someone who smokes meth? Like,
Yes.
They will steal from anybody, dude, from fucking anybody to smoke more meth. So, I mean, it's just like decriminalization is just going to lead to kicking these dudes. It's like getting rid of bail, it's like,
but I think that's it. Yeah, but that's step number one. And along with that, this is,
it's not,
that's
putting the cart before the horse, because now you're kicking them back on the street with no treatment.
I know, I'll give you that. But I think though that what needs to come along with that is the treatment, and what will come along with that is the sobriety and stuff like that. Like, it's nice to decriminalize it so no one's going to fucking jail, and it's nice that especially in Arizona, one of the parts that I voted for Proposition 207 is because it expunged everybody. It's supposed to expunge marijuana, felonies and stuff, whatever. So I like that. There's always going to be the politics involved, if you can only do this many more dispensaries and this and that. But it is nice that people aren't going to be going to jail and ruining their life in jail because of it, though. And that's another, kind of goes into like an overpopulation of jails right now.
We were already on track for that, because this is like why Trump is such an ineffective politician. The person he was running against, Joe Biden, sponsored and promoted the crime bill. Donald Trump signed into law the first act, or the first stepped act, which reduces the amount of people that are in federal prison for minor drug charges that are serving long terms, to reduce the federal prison population and reduce recidivism. And he didn't say that. He didn't mention that once in his entire campaign or on the debates. Like, how do you not stand in front of a debate stage and scream that this dude sponsored a bill that ultimately created the 3 strikes rule and super predators, and you signed the bill that reversed that?
That's a great point. That's a fantastic point.
Had no idea what the fuck he was doing.
I think also people don't want to eat that stuff up, though, Drew. I mean, what do you think about that? Because I think there are people out there who they are so and I know I'm not making a general statement. I think there are a large swath of people out there who believe that there is only one way to do this, and that is abolish prisons, abolish like law and order, and like get rid of the things that kind of, make up some of our justice system right now. So maybe that's why he didn't talk about it, is because maybe he knows that, people just don't fucking care unless you're going to do something that completely lets all overrepresented groups in prison out, so that there is no more disparity. Is it worth anything? I mean, I feel like there's a huge group of people that feel that way, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, that's fair enough. Like, you could say it doesn't do enough or whatever. And then you also have to deal with the fact that, he was so hamstrung throughout his campaign. And then, it just didn't matter what he did, because people would just, he was so polarizing, and people hated him so much that no matter what type of good thing he did, they would just say, well, if he did it, I don't care. And it reveals the hypocrisy of the people, or like the team sports that politics has turned into. And you can't just look at policies for policy's sake, but.
Well,
but no, I mean, fair point. Like, maybe not enough, but at least a bridge, right? It was a bipartisan bill as well.
You could at least tried to spin it, Could have spun it some way to be like, hey, at least I'm making an effort to help, the way that people are treated in the criminal system. And if I have 4 more years, I can make more improvement. He could have spun it in a way that, made it to his advantage.
Well, yeah, right. That's ultimately where Trump fucked up. But then, like, once again, Trump derangement syndrome is a thing. So,
Call it
what are you gonna
Trumpism.
do?
The fucking podcast, the economics podcast I was listening to today, we're talking about like even when Trump is out of office, Trump syndrome is going to be a real thing, and he might. They were talking about him being able to do more damage or have more of a falling now that he's out of office. Like it's not over now. Like he could almost do more damage or have more of an impact now out of office than he did in office because he still has that following behind him.
Do you think
Yeah.
they'll put him in for another term? You think they'll go with him again, the Republican Party, or?
Oh, you mean the Grover Cleveland strategy?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
No.
it's too early to tell. I think they're going to try to avoid it, but who knows, man? If he's the only one around when it comes 4 years from now, maybe. I don't know.
We were talking
Bobby,
about this.
2024.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Maybe you'll be done working for the government there and go back into a different section. But I think we were talking about this earlier. I think the Republican Party will have to rebrand itself after this, and hopefully they will come back more modernized and more ably, or at least ready to ably defend itself or promote its ideals among the populace. Because
Yeah, I
Trump
think
was
they're gonna have
not
to.
really a Republican. So I love how we all like to act like he was, but
Right.
he was a
Yeah,
lifelong
No, he-
moderate, like Democrat populist his entire life. So
I'm kind of excited about, hopefully that the Republican Party just will realize what you just said, Drew, and maybe they will modernize a little bit. I think that'll be really interesting to see that in the next couple of years, because I think there are some cool individuals, in the Republican Party that are kind of getting their names out there. It's not the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, and stuff like that. It's getting a newer face on it, which is interesting. So we'll see where it goes. I think we have the Senate, so that's good.
Well, not yet.
for now,
Not yet.
I was gonna say knock on wood. Knock on wood. It's hopefully fingers crossed, but
Yeah, I was also I was doing a deep dive on dueling. I don't know if you guys have ever done much reading on dueling, but I was wondering what it would be like
oh yeah,
if they had to shoot it out instead of like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Instead of doing this wonky shit we do, just have a fight to the death.
who
Dude,
do you think would win?
neither of Mr. Bone Spurs versus the fucking dude. who
Either
decided-
of them, dude. It was just
Yeah, they both missed, dude.
the two dudes that shoot in the crowd next to him that pull out their guns and then kill them.
Yeah. They have somebody in the background that's really shooting for them, and they both just die. Like,
Yeah, I didn't really since I hadn't really ever deep dove it, I didn't know how crazy like dueling culture in Western Europe was for ages, man. These guys would fight over just petty insults, like to the death, straight up. And it was like illegal to avoid it. So like if you entered into it and you like got scared at the last second and shot a round in the air or shot into the ground, they'd put you in jail for it if you lived.
Damn.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Dude, I was reading it. I was reading some stories about that earlier this week, and there was like one incident. It was like a sitting vice president got into a
Yeah,
duel
Alexander
about,
Hamilton.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was
Yeah,
just saying,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, yeah.
talking about this.
Yep.
This is great.
And straight up like got in a duel with somebody that he didn't like, and he lost.
Aaron
and he died.
Burr.
He died,
Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton were longtime rivals, and Alexander Hamilton was most likely going to become the next president. And I don't know what it was. He's like, you know what, Aaron? I've had enough. It ends today.
Well, Aaron challenged him, right? So he
Yeah,
was
guess
forced
what?
to abide, right?
He missed. He missed, and Aaron didn't.
Yep.
Yeah, but he only winged him, right? So he like died a slow, painful.
Yeah, he hit him in the abdomen and he died
Yeah,
2 days later.
Alexander
yeah,
Hamilton's pride got the best of him.
That was it.
Oh, that's what started. That's what also started the tide towards getting rid of dueling too. It was when a sitting vice president died to a duel. That's what also turned it to like starting to get rid of dueling.
That does create a unique national like emergency type of situation, you know. Like, the vice president, the second in command here of the whole country, just died in a duel. So we got to find somebody. Everybody,
I think we should do a
voted
duel.
up the chain.
Just a
Two go
Biden
in,
Trump
one come
duel.
out. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I bet that would draw a bigger crowd than any Trump rally. That's for sure.
What if you did like a spinner wheel and it like changed the weapon? Like 1 year was an M4, like a SIG, like 9mm. There was
Oh
muskets.
no,
there was
dude! You'd have to do muskets, dude. One shot, one fire,
Like,
bro.
that'd be
No,
cool.
dude. Like one's a broadsword, and then one gets a morning star. And you go in there and you see what happens.
Gladiator style, put them in a ring and just fucking
One
let them pick their
goes.
weapons.
That's right.
Whoever exited is the new president.
I mean, we'd have some really crazy presidents if it was decided over duels.
Dude, could you
The
imagine?
Yeah, Brock Lesnar
Everybody's-
is president.
Yeah, it wouldn't make money
Everybody
after
wants
that.
to
Nah, dog. Jim Mattis would be president for life, dude. He just keep winning.
Nah, I don't even. Does that dude even have to like even do range quals anymore? He's like such a public figure and like
Dude, Brock Lesnar would shove him down to the ground and break his hips
Oh.
so fast.
oh yeah, destroy him. But yeah, man, I was just blown away. It was.
Was that Bobby?
I said then we just turn into the Mongols. It's like whoever the strongest dude is just in charge.
That's
Just
right.
running
We
through
have
the-
cons instead of presidents.
I mean, that's how they do in Russia.
No,
Oh,
Putin
yeah.
just kills you.
Yeah, exactly.
Outsmart.
To a degree, they just kill each other.
They just
You
rewrite the
eat
Constitution.
some
to keep
radiation
them in office.
soup.
Yeah, exactly.
So in Portland, they really did decriminalize everything.
Yeah.
Like everything's decriminalized. Fuck, and that's crazy.
Was it Portland or was it Oregon? I thought it was
It's Oregon.
Oregon.
It's Oregon in general. Yeah.
Oregon.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of Oregon now, dude. So you know where we got to go for our next vacation, dog.
Smoke
Going to the
crack.
Northern dispensary.
Portland.
Like, what you like? You like some crack, some mushrooms, some coke? What you got? We got all of it for you, dog. You know?
We'll go
Dude,
hang
you
out
get
with
off the plane.
Hunter
Yeah,
Biden.
guys,
Yeah.
We'll all be having
That's going to be the new place of residence.
We'll
Dude,
never
yeah.
come back.
That's weird too, because I thought Oregon was like kind of a fairly conservative place. So it must be just getting governed by Portland.
Yeah.
Like some,
I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, like-
Portland. Everything on the outskirts is pretty cowboyish.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with most blue states, right? Is they're governed by very densely populated urban areas.
Well, yeah,
the
if you
most
look at the map of just like where everybody voted, you know, is that you can just see a massive blue spike in every major city, and then every surrounding county around it is usually, you know, on the like the fringe or usually red, you know. Like,
Is that decriminalization just for usage, not production? You know what I mean?
oh
Like,
yeah,
distribution.
Yeah.
I don't
think
know. I don't know the
distribution-
details.
Yeah. Excuse me. I don't know. I had to look at the details too, but from what it sounds like, just, you know, you can't distribute, but it's not going to be a crime if they find it on you, you know?
yeah, like you get pulled over with a bunch of crack and meth and fucking LSD, and they're like, they just seize it and be like, all right, carry on, you know.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's probably still illegal for distribution. You know, you're like rolling around
yeah.
with a backpack full of heroin,
Yep.
and they're like, "All right, dude, like, you know, like,
That's all for me. That's all
Yeah.
for me.
all this.
I mean, it's the same thing
Oh,
with
this
alcohol. You know what I mean? Like, you can make your own beer. Anybody in America can make their own beer. You cannot, however, distill your own liquor. But
Mm.
anybody
just
can
need
go
your own
buy cases and cases and cases of liquor, and it's like,
Right, yeah.
where's
So
the
that shit's called moonshine, dog. You know,
Well, yeah,
you start making it yourself.
you were telling me about this, Bobby. Tell everybody about this. Where it's like, isn't that a misconception that you can go blind from drinking homemade hooch? Where it's like it's
Yeah.
harder to do than people make it out or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, just doing research on it. Like, when's the last time you heard a story in the news of some moonshiner making moonshine and people going blind from it? Never. It's never in the news, right?
I only knew
It's never in the news. You've never heard of it.
Mine.
and
That's a
nobody-
good point.
Nobody's ever heard of it, right? Apparently, from all my research is reading is that the reason people were having bad reactions, to include blindness from alcohol, is during Prohibition, is that either federal agents or somebody against somebody with the Prohibition Act were poisoning kegs of liquor with methanol.
Nice.
So that was the reasoning. It was like a scare tactic almost.
Hysteria. It's always hysteria with drugs.
And they still do it apparently in South Africa, where they'll add methanol to alcohol and just make people blind. But like from reading on it, like there's not enough methanol with distillation to make somebody go blind, which is why you never hear about it.
So what I've read about it, Bobby, is that the reason why people were going blind back in the day is because they weren't separating. I guess there's a layer when you distill liquor that you have to discard. That's the methanol layer. And if you don't discard that layer and you let it into, or you keep it, then it will, that's what causes it. That's what I've read in the past, but I haven't read it. I haven't looked it up in a while, but that's kind of what I was hearing, is those rare cases of people not distilling it correctly that would cause that type of issue.
Yeah, that's disproven. So it's okay. So distillation is broken up into 4 shots: heads, hearts, and tails. 4 shots being traditionally the record is changing now, but traditionally 4 shots contain all the methanol because of the volatility of the fluid or the liquid at certain temperatures. That all the shitty stuff comes out at the front. It's since being changed that now you can't say that it's all coming out at the beginning, because it's coming out throughout the whole process. That being said, nobody's going to want to drink the 4 shots because it tastes like toenail polish. You know what I mean? It is the harshest. It's literally like open up a bottle of toenail polish and trying to drink that shit. You wouldn't drink it even if it was free. You know what I mean? So nobody's drinking it in the first place. And even if you did, it doesn't contain enough methanol to fucking kill you or make you blind. So.
Yeah, I had read that. It was years ago I read that, but I was also skeptical with the concentration of it. You'd have to just take a pure shot or a skewed amount of that concentration of that to actually make you blind, not just a shot or two. You're drinking it for a while, only that layer or something.
Yeah, I mean, eat enough bananas, you can get fucking sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Eat enough sardines, you get arsenic poisoning, like our friend Joe Rogan.
That's right.
Hey, I'm gonna jump off here, guys. I gotta go tend to the family and everything like that. But sorry, Bobby. It was nice talking to you and everything. So
yeah, man, good seeing you.
See you, Joseph.
Alrighty,
sure,
Joseph.
So you guys take it easy.
Tell the family we said hi.
Next time I get. For sure. Next time I talk to you guys, we'll have 2 kiddos, So
Yikes.
Yeah, dude. Keep us updated, man. Let us know,
For sure. I'll send you guys pictures for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of the first. So you guys take it easy and have a good one, all right?
All right, dude.
Later, man.
Yeah. So what about the beer brewing, man? I thought about getting into it, but it seems like a shitload of work for not a whole lot of beer.
Yeah, so I was doing kombucha beer for a while. I ended up getting some mold and tossing it. I think my bucket was contaminated, so I haven't restarted since. But from what I was reading, trying to get into kombucha beer brewing, is that all the dudes that do beer brewing, it's a hobby. It's not, you're not saving money by brewing your own beer. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You want to drink beer, go to the corner store and buy a beer. You know what I mean? You buying all this equipment, you're not saving any money. So if that's what you're getting into it for, you're fooling yourself. You know what I mean? The reason I did the kombucha beer was just because it was new. You know what I mean? It was something to do. It was a hobby for me, but it actually turned out pretty damn good. But yeah, I don't know.
No, it's super. We have a dude at school actually. He's a retired submarine chief, and he brews his own beer and he brews it in the vet center at school. So like once like towards finals, like we just get like I'll walk in the vet center and there'll be like a case of brewed beer just sitting in the refrigerator. And like he
Yeah,
brings it in for us all the time, and
yeah,
it's usually really good. But yeah, he explained to me some of the like the finer details of it, and it's like it's very meticulous type of process if you want to actually have a good yield and a good product.
yeah. I mean, any of us would enjoy it just because of the intricacies and the ways you can kind of pursue it. Um, but if you wanted cheap beer, like go make friends with somebody that works at Budweiser because they
Right.
spill more beer in a day than you could drink in your entire lifetime. You know what I mean? Like they'll just give you cases and cases of half-filled beer bottles, and you can just throw that shit in your fridge and drink that for free. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I had a buddy growing up that his dad worked for Anheuser-Busch for like 25, 30 years or something. And he got like 3 or 4 cases a week free. Just as like, don't steal our shit type of thing, you know? So like, he just had like cases and he just started giving them away to people because like,
yeah.
you
I
just,
mean,
you
my
know?
my dad's an electrician for a private company now, and he builds um, like conveyor belt. He like runs the wiring for conveyor belts, and was doing one for a like a private brewing company, and they were literally giving him cases of beer, and it was just like the kickoff bottles that were half filled, 3/4 of the way filled, and it's like, yeah, they just kick them off the line, throw them in a case, and it's like give them away to your friends, man. It's like we can't rebottle it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
the amount of
exactly.
mistakes that happens is just, there's beer everywhere, dude. Like you can find cheap beer. You don't need to go out and brew it unless that's something that you want to dive into.
But I feel like if you want to brew your own beer, you're more exploring, like you said, like a hobby slash like maybe try to like experiment with taste, carbonation. You want to just try to, explore that rabbit hole of like what you can come up with.
What types of beer do you brew, Bobby? Was it just the kombucha, or did you try anything else?
No, I just did the kombucha beer. The kombucha beer was just I know it's like a new upcoming thing. I know there's a lot of breweries out in California pushing it, and it's something that I couldn't find online, like a recipe online. There was just like bits and pieces of information that I kind of put together and just kind of made it up really, and ended up sharing that information online, and had like a couple hundred hits of like people like, how did you do that? Because
Damn.
it was
Nice.
fresh. It's fresh on the market, man. Like people aren't doing it yet. So it was cool to figure out and like cool to bottle it and like get good carbonation and good flavor from it. So it was really just a puzzle for me. It wasn't. It was. I mean, you can go buy that shit, but it was just something to do on the off time.
Yeah, it's like
Right. How long did it take you to get it to where you could do like a?
So I started off.
How long did it take you?
Yeah, I've been brewing kombucha, like regular old kombucha, for 2 or 3 years, and then started reading about beer brewing, and just realized that like fermentation. I do a lot of like I made kimchi the other day with my wife. That's in the freezer, in the fridge. So just like realizing that like fermentation is like literally super easy. You know what I mean? It's like an anaerobic environment with sugar. You know what I mean? And a bacteria, like that's fermentation.
Right.
So I was usually doing like 2 gallons of kombucha, like every week or so, and drinking that, and then building that up to a 5-gallon container. It takes a couple weeks, just to kind of get the bacteria growing there, and then from there, 2 or 3 bad batches that just didn't work out. So I'd say probably like 6 months. It was probably overall from start to beginning or start to end, like having a good product where you're like crack it open and it's like fizzy and you get like a good flavor out of it. So it was fun though.
No, that's super cool. Like, to try to just to go through the process of like, what is working, what's not, or how the flavor changes based on like little small minute changes or you make in the process. It's the definition of like trial and error type of thing, but then you end up with like a unique product that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah, my I actually like the kombucha beer. I didn't know if I ever would, and I got into Boochcraft when I lived in San Diego. Shit is fire. I miss having it.
So good.
Can't find that shit here, and it is so
I know.
damn good. Yeah, but I mean, I think I wanted to try it. Actually, what I wanted to try was trying to make mead. Just because it's hard to find, nobody really ever has it, and it's like, you know, if you make it and then drink it and it's pretty good, that's satisfying. But yeah, as far as like, you know, making it cheap, it did not look like a cheap alternative.
It's that's why it's so expensive in the stores. You know what I mean? Like you go buy a bottle of meat in the stores and it's anywhere from 15 to $21 for a bottle, just because honey's expensive. And that just kind of goes back to the whole bee thing. You know, like we were talking about at the beginning. It's like, you know, people sell honey by the pound. So if you're buying, you know, a quart jar of honey, you're expecting to pay $30. But you know, if you're trying to make mead, you're buying 5 gallons. You know what I mean? Like essentially 40, 50 pounds of honey, which is expensive. And if you
Holy shit, yeah.
And if you screw the pooch and grow some bad bacteria in it, you know, you're out. You know, so.
Yeah. What do you do with like your bees? Do you sell the honey like at farmers markets or something, or do you just eat it?
No, yeah, we ate it. It was just we didn't make enough to sell, and even if we did make extra, it was more of just like put it in little pint jars and send it out to folks for Christmas. You know what I mean? It was like easy Christmas gift. Like, hey man, here's some like little raw honey. You know what I mean? It's the coolest gift. You know, it's like it'd be cool to get like a jigsaw, you know, or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's like you got some like homemade jam and some honey. It's like, yeah, it's a pretty good Christmas gift. So
yeah. My girlfriend's sister does that. She they live in NorCal and like basically have like a small farm essentially, and they do like pickled foods or whatever. You know what I mean? As gifts or whatever. But that's sick, dude. Like, I mean, how do you make it? Like, what do you mean by make the honey? I mean, do you do bee pollen too?
No, so you can. So essentially, you have the easiest way to explain it is like the bottom box is like the bee house, right? So all the bees live in there, right? And then between that box and the next box, which is called your super, you put a like a mesh screen. This mesh screen is big enough for the worker bees to go through, but not big enough for the queen to go through. And the problem with the queen going through is that she lays eggs. So you start laying eggs in the honey, and then it's like you got to filter that shit out, and not a big deal, right? It's not something you want to worry about.
Sounds good.
You have her lay all her eggs in the bottom box, and then all the worker bees just store all the honey in the top box. And at the end of the season, usually twice a year, you take that top box off. You know, you give them either some feed for the winter, some sugar water for the winter, if you need to, or you just shut it off. And then all you do is decap it. So you've seen honeycomb, you know, like capped honeycomb.
Yeah.
All you do is run a knife over the top and pull the top off, and then just let it all drain out. Throw it in a jar, man. It's like
that's easy.
Yeah.
Do you eat the honeycomb?
Yeah, I mean you can. It's like chewing on like wax. You know what I mean? It's like you just spit it out, but it's not a hard process. My wife actually went to like a beekeeping. There's like certain levels, you know, like master beekeeper, and there's levels underneath it. She went to a couple beekeeping classes, but there's enough like information of, you know, bee diseases, things to look out for, like how well your hive's doing, how to rectify those problems if need be. But like once you get over the hump, there's like 5 or 6 things you need to look out for, and then from there it's just, you know, just check on them once a week and make sure they're doing good. So it's pretty easy. It's like it's funny because bees are labeled as livestock. And from a livestock perspective, it is the easiest livestock to take care of because you check on them once a week, vice, you know, like a pig or a goat.
Yeah.
Like you're there every day vaccinating and all this other bullshit. So
yeah, fuck, dude, that's
And
I
the
mean, it sounds
space.
cool. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that sounds badass. I mean, do you know why they keep disappearing? I don't know anything about that. I've always heard people like, we got to worry about the bees.
Pesticides and cell signals usually.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
a
really?
huge thing? Yeah, I had an entire semester on like why bees are disappearing and why they're important. And a lot of it's like habitat too, like losing.
Yeah, I
their
definitely know
habitats.
they're important for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's like they're even looking at using or trying to create like an artificial way to pollinate flowers because if bees are disappearing, then we can't pollinate flowers anymore.
Chinese are already on it, bro. They sent out 1 million Chinese out there with some paintbrushes.
That's so crazy, dude. No, they did not. They really did.
Yes, they did. That's for real. They will send out 1 billion Chinese to go out there with a paintbrush to pollinate flowers so they don't starve to death.
Yeah, well, that's the only other option, right? With the bees kind of slowly disappearing due to like habitat infringement, pesticides. Like people, we don't like bees as humans, right? We don't want them around us, you know. So there's ways that you can like hire and people can spray so that bees, hornets, whatever won't be around your property, and in effect affects their climate, you know, and it's slowly like kind of affecting their habitats.
Yeah, I don't know. People made it sound like it was going to be the end of the world. I just didn't understand how like entire colonies of bees or hives, whatever the fuck they're called. I just didn't understand how they disappeared, like without a trace.
There's also a disease going around called the varroa mite. That takes a big toll, and it's kind of sweeping through the country. And then there's also some other diseases that plague them, but not as big. But definitely the pesticides and this like human growth of, you know, infringing on wild population areas is definitely detrimental to the overall population.
So where do they go if we can't ever find them?
Well, they die. Well, that's also so one of the unknowns with it is like entire hives will just disappear, like they'll just be killed. They'll just be dead. Well, we don't know. That's at least like, you know, within the last year, because I looked into this a lot. Like I think it was last year because I took one of my classes was about this. Like we talked a lot of, and Drew probably had encountered this too. Like talk a lot about like that whole like there's entire labs at my university that are around bees. And where they're going, what's happening, because like they'll find these entire bee populations where the queen bee will just die or leave, and the entire hive will die, right? Because that's what they depend on, but they don't know why. They can assume different things, but they're not sure. Really, it's an unknown phenomenon right now that they're not sure why it's happening with this drastic, almost extermination of bees. We don't know why. I don't know if Drew, you have anything that you can elaborate on with that, but
yeah, it's called colony collapse disorder. So essentially, something happens to the queen, and she no longer starts producing larvae anymore, or starts laying eggs anymore, and the colony will die. And before that like happens, there's something weird that happens to like the way that she sends out a signal to the colony, to where it's like, oh, we're getting ready to move, and then like they just do, and then they never re-establish their colony anywhere else, and they just all die off. And so they don't know if that's a combination of only pesticides or if it's the cell, because they know 100% for sure that the microwaves from cell phone signals fuck with the bees. Do this thing called the waggle dance, and it's how they navigate.
Yep.
And they know for sure that the microwaves from cell signals fuck with that waggle dance, and they're no longer able to like give directions like they would normally.
Do you think it might be like we were talking about invasion of their kind of habitat to the point now they're not able to relocate like they would before? So it's
basically, yeah. It's like the thing we don't think about. Like we think about the actual physical encroachment on their habitat, but we don't think about like our technological encroachment with all the electromagnetic waves we're producing.
Right. What percentage of the United States does not have cell coverage right now? You know, it's super small.
The mountains.
Yeah, exactly.
The mountains in the south.
Yeah, it's about it. Mountains.
Yeah.
I mean,
where I was living in Yellowstone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, Joe had it worse than you, man. He's got to get his internet from like microwaves, right? I was telling Bobby about that. We were laughing about it yesterday. I'm like,
yeah, satellite radio or internet.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
He's out there putting just throwing the pile of fucking wire out and just trying to get some type of service. That's what he's doing at his house right now. He just throws a fucking big ass pool of fucking wire out and just hopes to get some type of service.
It's like that scene from Enemy at the Gates where they fucking have the dude with the fucking spool of wire on his fucking back, and he's got to starts crawling to the ditch, and you got a fucking German sniper just picking him off as he's trying to like reline the wire.
God.
Dude, fuck, man.
Yeah. So, Drew, when do you start hearing back from med schools? You think you'll get any decisions soon?
I've already started hearing back, but as they say, no news is good news. So
Okay.
got a bunch of denials. I think I'm down to 27 applications left. Yeah,
Damn.
That's
I've,
pretty
like,
good number.
yeah, out of like 40 something. So, but yeah, San Diego crushed my dreams. They denied me, so I won't be going to San
Damn.
Diego. Yeah.
Damn.
Well, you know, this or that, you know, you're a good, smart dude, and you know, you'll figure it out, bro. You got
This and that.
This and that, yeah. That reminds me, I had a game I was going to play with Joe called This or That.
We have to make it a segment. That'll be part of the future podcast. Will be the this or that segment with Joe.
The this or that segment.
Here we go. First question for This or That. Christopher Nolan, British or American?
British.
American.
Bobby?
I'm gonna go British. I couldn't tell you.
Oh, the Britishes have it.
Oh, damn. I just went American because I was like, well, I'm just going to go opposite of Rob. So,
Dude, why would you ever inverse me? That's like the worst play you could ever make. Come on, bro. You don't want to inverse me. Yeah. I also, speaking of games, I played a pretty fun game when we were at that lake house that I went on vacation just like, 2 weeks ago. Have you guys ever played a board game called Catan?
Yes, the Settlers of Catan. It's fun.
It is really fun, dude. It is a great game. I had never heard of it. It's really simple, and yeah, it's a great game. I enjoyed it a lot.
Simpler, funner Risk.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it's like. Yeah, I mean, I was 3 sheets to the wind, just wasted, and was still able to function in that game pretty decently.
And it's pretty cutthroat too, like Risk typically is, but like it doesn't take days to play,
Yeah, exactly. We did a game in like 2 hours with, I guess it only can do 4 people unless you get this like expansion set. So we had 6 or 5 maybe. I can't remember, but it was fun, man. I just want to recommend it to you guys. I don't know if you guys are losers like me, but me and my girlfriend, when we hang out with other people, we do like game nights and stuff or whatever. So,
that's a good one too. And then, have you ever played Code Names? That one's pretty good.
No, I haven't. I believe I've heard of it though. Tell me about it real quick. Give me a recap.
It's pretty popular right now. My sisters love that game. Basically, you have 2 teams, and then you have a representative from each team that can see a list of 5 words that you have to get your team to select. But you can't say what the actual word is like on the back of the card to match it up to find it on a board. So you have to give like clues of like what the word is similar to or what the word is not. And it's like you have to like approach figuring out these clues like very obliquely. But if you give it's so specific that if you get the wrong clue, they can give like you can get your team to hone in on like the one space on the board that'll instantly end it. And you're just competing back and forth with people. It's you have to think a lot. So maybe not the best drinking game in the world, but
yeah, I was gonna say I probably wouldn't do too hot.
Yeah,
Ticket to Ride is like my favorite. Ticket to Ride is my favorite. Like drinking, like you don't have to fucking think. It's just you build railroads. You're building railroads like you're fucking Andrew Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that one that game's pretty fun. That's definitely not that bad. Speaking of games, man, I think you're out of luck, man. This new Elder Scrolls title is not gonna be on PS5, dude. It's gone. So,
dude, I watched the new Assassin's Creed trailer, or the new Assassin's Creed early access gameplay, Valhalla, today.
How's it look?
Dude, it looks pretty good. I was watching Josh OG play it today. He's got their like early access beta, and it looks pretty sick, man. I was thinking of you, Drew, when I was watching it. I was watching it strictly to tell you about it.
I'll probably get it.
I can't play any more Assassin's Creed, dude. Like the last 4 games is like the same game, bro. It's like, dude,
you finally burn out.
Dude, is your video game career just over or what? Or do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
play,
What are you
like,
doing
here
for
and there?
video games these days, Bobby?
Yeah, I've been playing COD for a little bit. But other than that,
What
I've
are you
been
playing on? What's your? Or are you playing console wise? Xbox or PlayStation?
Yeah, Xbox. Yeah,
Xbox
yeah.
still. Okay. Damn, you
Um,
missed out on the fucking 3 months of COVID COD we did, man.
Yeah,
It was
dude.
nuts, dude. We had like 10 people on at a time. We were doing private matches. We had our own little crew set up for private squad games, dude.
Yeah, I was
We were
hanging
going
out
ham.
with a lot of dudes from work. That was kind of like my crew to play with. But other than that, like, I mean, I played Red Dead. That was awesome. Played
You
Unraveled.
like petting your horse?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you just run around and shoot people in the face for no reason. Yeah, played Unraveled. That was a good one. What was the other one I just played? I mean, it's pretty slow, man. Having kids and just it's a different world.
Yeah, for sure. You're definitely limited on time. It's more of like when you can fit it in, you fit it in, and from here and there, that's about it.
Yeah, and half the other time it's like, well, I gotta go mow the lawn, or you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
You gotta be an adult. What do you mean? Hold on a
I
second.
got a fucking rotting lawnmower and a mortgage, bro. And it's like two kids, man. I'm like, I'm full on adulting. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I
bro.
remember when me and Bobby used to just skip work and play Tiger Woods golf all day.
Yeah, you guys used to play that at my barracks. Remember that?
That's right. That's right.
great.
In the
Oh,
self-destruct room.
Yeah, we're like 4 minutes out. Any like closing? Anything you want to say? Bobby, it was great having you on. I don't know if you're gonna be around more or not, but you
That's
know.
going on for like the next probably 6 months. So I'll be on.
Oh, nice.
You guys will have me. I'm fucking hanging out, man.
You angling to brew like any more beers or anything like that? Try something new since you got all this time.
Yeah, I mean, I just got into welding, so I've been doing a lot of that. Just I've been doing the woodworking thing and just kind of like tying in the welding thing. So that's like my new journey.
Any good woodworking stuff?
Yeah, so I just built a lady a custom like 2-tiered like sycamore slab entry table, and sold her
Wow.
that, which is
Nice.
pretty ridiculous. But it's ridiculous thinking like I'm in like some like maker space where I'm like making shit for people and like selling it to them. But I mean, you know, you think like the people that you know, it's like how many people know how to do some woodworking and welding, you know what I mean? So it's essentially pretty easy. You just find enough people who want custom pieces and sell it to them. So
Yeah, especially because if they want to go to a major like name brand or anything like that, right? It's like almost like if you want to get a custom like gun thing made for you, right? You go to a main name brand, you're paying more for the brand than you are for the work. Same thing with like if they can get it through you, that's good quality, but they don't have to pay the name brand because you're not this big super company. It's gonna benefit both of you guys.
yeah, I mean that, and it's just like I want it exactly like this, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'll build it for you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for
pay
sure.
me for time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, dude, that sounds super interesting for sure. Like getting into like that woodworking and all that type of like I get sucked into like the Reddit videos and stuff of like people doing woodworking and metalworking stuff. It almost like draws you into this like that's so cool. I want to do that, but at the same time, either I don't have the time or capability to or whatever it is. But it's like it kind of draws everybody's attention. I would feel like and
Yeah,
just the
I miss
interest.
doing that stuff. That shit's fun, dude. I mean, I never did any metalworking, but that stuff's fun, man. Getting together, drinking beers with buddies, and just kind of fucking
Yeah,
wrecking
like
the
I
garage.
built deck stairs over the summer.
Oh yeah, that was
like
cool.
because when I bought my house last year, it didn't have stairs for my deck. So me and my brother over the summer built stairs on it. So yeah, for some reason they didn't have the stairs built on the
Stairs not
deck on
included.
that house. Yeah. Well, I actually talked to my neighbor who's lived in this neighborhood for like 30 years since this was like founded, and they said they didn't want to pay for the extra money. Like I got the atrium background, right? So like my house doesn't have like a basement. It's like the atrium like windows in the back. So they paid for that, but they wouldn't pay for stairs for their deck. So I had the like extension that is 4 stairs, but they didn't pay for the stairs. So he was like, yeah, they were super weird. Is what he told me when I asked him about it. He's like, that was my first question. Is like, why didn't they build stairs and I had to?
Who is your contractor? Donald Trump? Jesus Christ.
Dude, yeah. Well, if you go around my neighborhood, a lot of my neighborhood is like that. They have decks, bottom walkout basements, but no stairs. It's like 50-50 to where it was like almost like when you were building the house when the subdivision was built, you had the option, do you want a deck and do you want a deck with stairs? So a lot of people seem to like, it was like you drive around the neighborhood, it's like 50-50. Some have them and some don't. Super weird because I was like, why would you build a deck without stairs? It just seems dumb. But we're out of time. Anybody got anything else to say before we close it
No, man, it was Bobby. Thanks for coming on, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, dude, it was
thanks for
awesome,
breaking
man.
down some of the booze making. That was sick.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd like to hear some about the woodworking and metal stuff you're doing next time you're on, dude, for sure. That'd be awesome.
All right, yeah. Let's see you guys next week, Friday. This was a one-off. So thanks for
Yeah,
stopping
so I
in.
can get back from Yellowstone and you can see all our pretty faces.
All right, later, guys.
Peace.
Later.